Donald Trump was just given the biggest softball question on a right-wing media interview as he's heading into a contempt hearing for violating the gag order. And Donald Trump took this softball question and turned it into what I believe is a major gag order violation, where Donald Trump says some false and malicious things about the jury. Listen to what went down. Play the clip.
We know each other a very long time. How's your family holding up through all this?
Well, look, it's always tough when you can't go to your son's graduation. You know, he's a great student and he's a good boy, and you tell him you can't go to his graduation. This judge, who is a totally conflicted person, by the way, he should not be the judge of this case. He's so that nobody's ever been as conflicted as him, just about. But this judge said that you can't get away from the trial. You know, he's rushing the trial like crazy. Nobody's ever seen a thing go like this. That jury was picked so fast. 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area. It's a very unfair situation, that I can tell you.
So Donald Trump, you heard him, was asked on this right-wing media network, how are the members of his family holding up? And as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, explained, his answer contained not one word about how his family is holding up. John Cooper posted, not a single member of Trump's family, not Melania, not Ivanka, not John Jr., not Eric, not Tiffany, has bothered to show up at his criminal trial to show their support. Speaks volumes, doesn't it? But instead of answering the question, Donald Trump said he complains and whines that the judge, Justice Merchan, is conflicted, he said. Donald Trump says that things are going way too fast. He goes, no one's ever seen things go so fast. No one's ever seen a judge that's so conflicted. And then you heard what he said about the jury, that the jury's unfair. He says that the jury is 95% Democrat. And if we take a look at the gag order that's in place in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal trial, it very specifically says in subsection C that it is a violation for Donald Trump to be making statements like this about the jury. It actually cannot be clearer what the gag order says. Now, there are at least 7 statements that will be subject to today's gag order violation hearing where Donald Trump can be held in contempt. He previously attacked the jury as well, where he said they are catching undercover liberal activists lying to the judge in order to get on the Trump jury. And he was quoting Jesse Waters there. And Jesse Waters did a full segment on a prior juror who was already selected and sworn in, juror number 2. I'll show you what Jesse Waters did a segment about. Then juror number 2 left. And she said that after this all happened, she didn't feel comfortable. She didn't think she could be fair and impartial. So Donald Trump's threats and harassment are having real world consequences. And juror number 2 was what left the jury. Here, play this clip.
Number 2, a nurse from the Upper East Side with a master's degree. She's not married, has no kids, and lives with her fiance who works in finance. She gets her news from the New York Times, Google, and CNN. She said 2 things that really stuck out. One, quote, I don't really have an opinion of Trump, and, quote, no one is above the law. I'm not so sure about juror number 2.
So that's what Jesse Waters said. Then jury number 2 left. Now, here's what Jesse Waters is saying today. Jesse Waters is saying that this is hurting Trump's ability to get exercise. This is so unfair. Donald Trump needs sunlight. This, as Donald Trump is now attacking the jury, as you just heard on right-wing media. How pathetic can you be? The whining, this is moving too fast. The jury doesn't like me. He needs to get sunlight. I mean, how much more pathetic? Here, play this clip of Jesse Waters.
But the guy needs exercise. He's usually golfing. And so you're going to put a man who's almost 80 sitting in a room like this on his butt for all that time? It's not healthy. You know how big of a health nut I am. He needs sunlight and he needs activity. He needs to be walking around. He needs action. It's really cruel and unusual punishment to make a man do that. And anytime he moves, they threaten to throw him in prison.
And by the way, compare what Jesse Waters said to this is how Rachel Maddow described how Donald Trump was looking in court earlier. Play this clip.
Seems considerably older, and he seems annoyed, resigned, maybe angry. He seems like a man who's miserable to be here. And again, that's, you know, I'm no body language expert, and this is just my observation, but he seemed old and tired and mad.
I love how the Biden campaign made this graphic. Considerably older, miserable, old, tired, and mad, annoyed, and angry. You see that right there. Let's check out what Alina Haba is doing. Here is Alina Haba in a video that she has made where she's giving a masterclass on how to saw celery. Kid you not, this is what she's doing. Play this clip.
I just think it's so good. And it brings the moisture so it's not dry.
So what vegetables are we using? Celery?
Celery and carrots.
Celery and carrots.
But I love these. I had to go to 2 different places because Joseph's didn't have the
carrots.
chips.
Oh, the carrot chips.
The chips. So I brought 2 sizes, the chips. And then there's these little ones I'll throw in there too.
Take a look, by the way, at what Donald Trump is also posting, whining about the judge, Justice Merchan. He goes, Judge Merchan is railroading me at breakneck speed in order to completely satisfy his friends. Additionally, he has gagged me so that I cannot talk about the most important of topics, including his totally disqualifying conflict of interest and taking away my constitutional right of free speech. Well, by the way, you talk more than anybody. You whine more than anybody. And here's my thing. This isn't a political thing. Just who whines at the level of just the whiny and loserness of this behavior. And it's just like, just be quiet. And by the way, I love how Olivia Nuzzi described Donald Trump's look and behavior. Here's what she said. She goes, Trump is tilting his head dramatically and making trout-like movements with his mouth as he listens to Justice Merchan. Trout-like movements. Okay. I guess that's what it looks like. Suzanne Craig writes, Trump is struggling to stay awake. His eyes were closed for a short period. He was jolted awake when his lawyer nudged him while sliding him a note in front of him. He also was attacking and threatening Michael Cohen. Here's just a clip of what he had to say about Michael Cohen, who's a witness. Play this clip.
In terms of his representation, but he represented a lot of people. But he puts in an invoice or whatever, a bill, and they pay and they call it a legal expense. I got indicted for that. What else would you call it? Actually, nobody's been able to say what you're supposed to call it. If a lawyer puts in a bill or an invoice and you pay the bill, and in the book, it's a little line, that's a very small little line. I don't know if you could even write more than 2 words. It's not like you can tell a life story. They marked it down to a legal expense. This is what I got indicted over. Think of it. I got indicted. I'm the leading candidate. I'm beating Biden. I'm beating the Republicans now. I have the nomination. And this is what they try and take me off the trail for. That check's being paid to a lawyer. He is a lawyer, or was a lawyer. And also the things he got in trouble for were things that had nothing to do with me. He got in trouble. He went to jail. This had nothing to do with me. This had to do with the taxi cab company that he owned, which is just something he owned, and medallions and borrowing money.
So, folks, it's going to be a very interesting contempt hearing, especially with Donald Trump's statements that he just made. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. I hope you are appreciating the coverage that we're doing here at the MeidasTouch Network, covering every angle of this criminal trial. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. Have a good one.
Enough! Send him to the big house, not the White House. Get the new exclusive tees, mugs, and stickers right now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.